This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Only 23 pitchers have ever thrown a perfect game in Major League Baseball. One of those pitchers did it with a fifth or so of booze sweating out of his face. That man was David Wells, who threw a perfect game against the Minnesota Twins in 1998 with monster breath and a raging, skull-rattling hangover, as he told Sports Illustrated. Wells had been up all night partying at a Saturday Night Live cast party and managed 3 or less hours of sleep before having to report to the stadium for the game, where he there threw a perfect game. The drunk in charge, Ryan Castle, joining us in the studio with a similar baseball story.
Speaking of baseball.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you guys, and I just turned on the show back in our office.
Oh, thanks for listening.
I was listening to the game.
I appreciate that.
You know what I do with my days is I sit in meetings, right? So
Sure.
I finally got done with that, and I started listening to the show. I was like, God, this guy's story reminds me of the time that I had to run a Mariners broadcast high on mushrooms. And then I realized what the question was today, and I said, I have a great story for that. So,
hey, Mariners, if you're listening.
Yeah. So, I'm 17 years old. It's 1995. This is my first radio job. And it is board opping at an AM station in Eastern Washington that carries the Mariners, the Sonics at the time, the Seahawks, stuff like that. And what they would do is they would have a kid like me come in, and I would play the commercials, and I would do the weather.
ID at the top
right,
of the hour.
I would do the weather.
Need to identify
do the
themselves.
weather at the top of the hour, that sort of stuff. And this is the same place where I fell asleep running a Seahawks game during the second quarter, and I woke up in the third quarter. And if anybody who's ever listened to football on the radio knows, a lot of stuff happens during halftime, not during that game because the board op was asleep.
Wow.
But so it's a couple hours before I have to go to work. It's like a 7:00 game or something like that. And I'm hanging out with my buddy, and I'm 17 years old, and he hasn't ate the mushrooms. And I'm like, sure, why not? Like, I should.
You don't really have to crack the mic that often.
Right. And I feel as though, even though I'm only 17, that I'm a trained professional in this department at this point.
Like, at 17, you think
I can hang, I think, right? Like, I think I'm like young Hunter Thompson or something. Like, this is going to be cool. So I split and ate the mushrooms with this kid, and everything's fine. Everything's cool, and I'm getting ready to go to work. And I'm driving to work, and everything's fine, and a song comes on the radio, and I am like really enjoying the song. Like, this is a really good, and now I'm like really getting into this song, and then it hits me, and I go, oh, F. Right. Like I am in trouble, like all at once, like a ton of bricks. I am like really, really, really high. And I am driving to work, and I am freaking the F out. Like, just that panic strikes you when you realize it's like if you ever got in trouble in school and you had to like go home and deal with your parents the whole way home. You're like, oh God, this is going to be so bad.
And the way this stuff works is that when you can't put it off. You can't delay the start of the game. So when they start, you have to time your way into it. You have to count down.
It's hard.
It's harder
and
than
it's
you
not
would
like
think.
Now the computer does it all for you.
Oh,
then,
like you had to manually sit there and figure out how to
get
it.
So it gets worse. So this radio station is a Rush Limbaugh affiliate. Right. The big boss does the talk show prior to when the Mariners game is going to start, and it is a conservative political talk show on a conservative radio station.
So he's on the air live then as you come in.
Yes, and this is a conservative older gentleman. Enter 17-year-old, green hair down to his shoulders, high on mushrooms, Ryan Castle.
Who's going to run the Mariners game?
Into the room to run the Mariners game. So here's the setup at this place. You like park out front, but there's also a parking lot like half a block away that's fenced in, right? So I pull up out front and I go in because I'm running late, and he's sitting in the room, and like the counter is around him, and he starts talking to me, and the whole room just goes right. And we're talking about football or something, and I can't remember what I was saying, but I got like halfway through a sentence and I just stopped. Like, I just completely lost track of everything that was going on, and I just stop, and then there's like this long dramatic pause, and I go, I have to go move my car. And I walk out of the room. And I charge out of the room, and then I go sit in my car for 5 minutes going, oh no, it's over. Right. I'm done. It's over. So enter the Mariners game. I take every opportunity to go into the bathroom and to try not to cry or to pace around the back parking lot and tell myself it's cool, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine. Fortunately, I was the only one in the building. I was there by myself, so it wasn't like someone was going I was going to run the chance of having to talk to anybody. But so you start coming up towards the top of the hour, and you've got to open the microphone and fill 10 seconds.
You do.
And
10 seconds.
So at 50, I start planning out that 10 seconds. I'm going to take 10 minutes to figure out.
Sometimes they say, we want you to do the weather.
Blah, blah,
They
blah, blah.
tell you, just give the call
I know.
They typically have
time
and shut up.
That's it. They typically have a sheet you just read from.
That's it.
Right, and then Dave Niehaus would say, and now for a break for station identification, I'd be like, oh no, it's happening.
Come on, you go
I have to do it.
You're listening to your home for Spokane Talk on.
It's 8:05 on Fill in the Blank
on
radio
Sports
station.
News Radio.
And 57 degrees. Click OK.
Whoa.
It was Hanson. So by the end of the night, my shift is done at midnight. By the end of the night, I had come down off the mountain and everything was okay.
Was much better.
Was okay.
It's
cool,
amazing how long the
that
after post game show is as well on those stations.
Right, and then it was like the Dr. Dean Adele or show or something like that afterwards. But that was hands down the worst drug experience of my life. That was one of the worst days of my life. Was sitting in that room having to run the Mariners game.
And just
comments are coming in. People want to know, is there a recording of this? People want to hear.
No.
I don't know.
Your 10 seconds of radio.
It was like late in the Mariners season in 1995. You know what? Probably not.
No,
probably. Nobody was taping.
Here's the
tape these 10-second IDs.
Yeah. Here's the truth of the matter, too. The way it used to work.
I didn't mess
up
anything, by the way.
And here's what would be if you were to somehow go in the bathroom and miss that ID. Then that guy who was sitting there, who was now on his way home, but still listening to the radio because he doesn't ever turn the station off.
Right.
Your hotline will go off and be like, you missed a top of the hour ID. And that was one of the worst things that you could possibly do in the history of running.
Because it's the law. It's the law. You had to do it. These are the kind of stresses that I was under on Mushroom at 17 years old.
There's mandate thing. You have to take tower readings. You have to check all this.
You got to make sure. You got to make sure the lights are on the tower. It's an AM station, so you have to turn down the power on the transmitter at night, or else all of a sudden you're broadcasting to Mars.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you're not supposed to.
Yeah. Oh, there was all kinds of stuff that needed to happen. Kids, don't do drugs. That was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yep. Drunk, high, or hungover, what did you get done? 844-999-OLA.
I would like to hear that sometime. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
A quick sidebar. I just want to tell you the first time, I think it was the first time, I ever took acid. I ended up getting left by my buddies alone, and I watched Clockwork Orange all by myself. And I ended up being huddled in the corner thinking I killed some girl.
Oh, that's intense.
Listen,
hopefully you did not.
It sure is, but no,
if you have not seen the movie, what he said makes complete sense. If you were to watch that movie alone, tripping on acid, you will put it this way: you might feel something. Yeah, you might feel something different, but you're not going to feel right about anything.
But no, that's not what I accomplished in the first place.
What did you accomplish?
Well, way back in the day, 20-some-odd years ago, I had a drinking buddy of mine who was always in trouble with the law, and he ended up going to Pierce County Jail for about 3 or 4 months, and he loaned me his 1978 Charger, which is basically a gigantic 1978 Cordoba. It's basically the same size, but a lot of power. And I ended up going to a party with a friend of mine. It was a great big shindig, keg and open bottles and all that kind of stuff. And I sat there and drank for quite a while until I felt like, oh man, maybe I better get home. So I hopped into the car, and I remember driving maybe about a quarter mile. And the next thing I know, I blacked out, and I woke up about 7 o'clock in the morning in my room, in my bed. I took my clothes off and everything, and I panicked. I was like, oh, my God, what did I do to the car? So I ran out, not a scratch on the car, and nothing's going on, and everything's golden. So I just said, man, never again. I will never drink and drive again.
Yeah, it's...
well, at least you made that decision without having to go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh, man.
I mean, typically, right, you have to interact with the police, but that's still terrifying, man. We had the woman who called earlier, and this one, she doesn't remember how she drove a manual home with her shoes tied together.
That's unbelievable. One more for you. Ricky Davis, what they call this in the 20 great drunk moments in sports from Bleacher Report. Ricky Davis's hangover miracle. He drank the bar entirely dry of its tequila supply, so the rumor goes. This story is hearsay, but it was from Bill Simmons from his old ESPN blog. But if the rumor about Ricky Davis is true, it has been legendary, and it has been repeated many times by some of the members who are in this entourage. And it happened on a night out in Memphis, and is one of the most ridiculous NBA drinking stories ever. As the tale goes, sometime in the early 2000s, a trainer with the Memphis Grizzlies went out for a night on the town with Davis, then with the Grizzlies. According to the trainer, Davis and his very small entourage gulped down 19 bottles of Patron tequila. And then, as they were hammered, attempted to set the Elvis Memorial on fire. After all of this, the trainer says that Davis went out the next day and put up a triple-double.
Damn. Yeah. I like that guy.
Unbelievable.
Yep. How to make me a fan.
Drunk, high, or hungover, what did you get done? We've got your emails coming up from the men's room at mensroomlive.com. Also, the word has names parents invented for their kids last year, and the return of Who Sucks Less. That is all on the way. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, drunk, high, or hungover, what did you get done? Here come those emails from the men's room at mensroomlive.com.
You've got mail.
Guys, I played some of the best golf of my life, higher than S on ecstasy. My buddy and I decided to roll while at a very nice golf course, very challenging. We both played very good golf for several holes while higher than S. Bitches, about 5 months ago, I drank 3/4 of a bottle of vodka, 6 beers, and an edible. The next morning, I had to play hockey. I'm the goalie, and I had a wicked hangover. I don't know how, but I played the best damn game I've ever played. After the game, had to go next door to buy a pizza and ate half that mofo on the 20-minute drive home. Only, guys, I go to my white-collar job baked every single day and have for the last 35-plus years, even when working at the United States Navy Hospital in the environmental department. Once in my 20s, I went to work at a restaurant still high on acid after going to a party the night before where I was offered liquid LSD. See you guys at Pain in the Grass. That from Lisa.
The Navy, man. I'm telling you.
You got a lot of comments you said today about the Navy.
I'm not even going to read those, but yeah, the comments that came in today, I'll put it this way. All of them that came from the Navy lead me to believe that at any given moment, everyone in the Navy is effed up on something.
Only, guys, I took my SATs with a 4-alarm hangover. I was 20, 21, didn't take them in high school for whatever reason, but all the schools I applied to after community college required them. I came in and sat next to a high-strung 15-year-old, taking it for the first of 4 times. I borrowed a pencil from him because I forgot to bring one. I got a 1300, which back then was pretty good. I always wondered what that kid got and if his mom was proud of him. That from Upside Down Scott. And we do have some comments.
We do, man, we got a million. Let's see. I snorted an 80 milligram oxy off the counter of, name redacted, the owner of, name redacted auto. I then went and asked if I could date his daughter, and he said yes. That's what I got done. Up all night drinking and woke up to my mom telling me that it was time to go take my second driver's test. I failed the first one even though I was sober. I passed the second one with 100%. Still a bit drunk, very hungover. In high school, I wasn't much of a party goer, but the evening before our all-country track meet, I decided to try my first, second, and maybe third beer bong. I was hungover at the meet, but I won all 4 events and received Athlete of the Meet award. This is lovely. Lost my virginity on mushrooms and jungle juice. Back in the day, that's it.
And jungle juice.
And jungle juice. Back in the day, I was a photojournalist for a newspaper in the Phoenix area. Long story short, I got hammered on a Friday night. I went to work on Saturday morning, only to find out my first assignment was interviewing a local stunt pilot and taking a ride in his biplane. Well, I started off with putting my parachute on backwards, and then on the ride we flew upside down, old barrel rolls, and pulled a tad above 4 Gs. Needless to say, I held it together without puking.
That's one thing. When those Blue Angels come through town and you see the news guy gets to ride with them, I'm like, no, I'm not.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
You would?
Yes.
Oh, I'd throw up all over the guy and feel awful about it.
I might throw up on the guy. I might even feel awful about it, but I still think it'd be worth it.
Okay.
And this guy, this is interesting. It says, I fought a 2,000-acre forest fire in acid. It was magical.
Okay. Hey, do we have time for a few extra emails from the men's room at mensroomlive.com?
You've got mail. You've got mail.
Couple kids here. Gentlemen, today's our son Deacon's first birthday. We can't believe how big you've gotten, Tank. How about a little kid fish sandwich? We love you, D. That from Colin, Mommy, and Papa.
Fish sandwich!
Guys, today is my son's 5th. He's a huge fan and really loves Thrills Impressions, especially Michael Jackson and Shannon Sharp. Could he get a happy birthday, Jacob, and one of those, and maybe a wobbin in German? Thanks for making his day even more special. That from Chili Willie.
Yeah. Happy birthday, man. I hope you celebrate with a Thrumpf of like a 7th by Thrimp Scampi or something like that.
Ja, frohlichen Geburtstag.
Bitches like to wish my boy LJ, who turns 8 today, a happy birthday. How about a Suck It Up cupcake for his 6-year-old sister Emily and a Leroy Jenkins from Mom and Dad. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So, suck it up, cupcake!
Let's do this. Leroy!
All the bitches today, my oldest son Aiden is 13 years old. He is now a teenager. Watch out, girls at Leota Middle School. Thanks to Steve and Ted's advice last year, Aiden made it on the soccer academy for his club.
All right, man.
So go Snohomish Youth Soccer Club. May have a Suck It Up cupcake and a You Like It. Thanks, guys, from the Russian-speaking Ukrainian Misha.
So, suck it up, cupcake!
You like that? You like that?
Bitches and Wobbin, happy birthday. Shout out to my work partner in crime, Tia. How about your penis is too small and a Suck It Up cupcake? Thanks, guys. Listen every day. That from Aaron.
So, suck it up, cupcake!
Well, guys, my boyfriend Aaron and I have been listening to your show for quite some time. Anyway, it's my awesome boyfriend's birthday, and I was wondering if you guys could give him some dirty Germans talking about Comic-Con. Thanks, guys. That from Lydia.
Yeah, for Comic-Con, I do something special for you. As a black man, I'll put on the slave layer outfit to be your 12-year slave layer.
Yeah, and I'm going to do like a Spider-Man type thing. Except it won't be webbing, but it will be shooting out of me.
Yeah, with the same sound.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a sticky web.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
Can I get
yeah, you will be the Peter Parker tonight.
Yeah. It's a Peter Parker by junk.
That is what we will name your butt, is Peter Parker.
It was a bit.
Can I get a birthday shout out for myself, Ryan? I listen to the podcast and look forward to hearing it every few days. How about Ray Lewis and a big old Leroy Jenkins? Thanks, guys. Love the show. That from Ryan.
It's time to take off the leash.
Let's do this. Leroy!
Hola, guys. My name is Kevin B., pronounced McLovin. I wanted to wish myself a 23rd birthday today, wondering if I could get a barbershop fish sandwich. Thanks, guys. Keep on rocking.
Is it too early for a fish sandwich? Cheese and tartar on the side.
Ooh, yeah.
I smell the fish sandwich, maybe some dill relish in the morning, at noon, and at night, and at night.
Birthday shout out to the girlfriend Chelsea, pronounced Biscuit. She is 25 today, and we are currently in Rhode Island getting donut drunk. She would really like the dirty Germans to talk about what they do with her and donuts. Thanks, guys. That from her Baywar.
Yeah, I will supply the glaze. You simply supply your biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably ram some jam into that biscuit.
Yeah, we call it ram jam.
I mean, I don't know, but donuts are so sexual.
Birthday wish to my brother Kendall. He sent me a shout out on mine. He is 28. Can he get a bong hit, please, and a original fish sandwich? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Fish sandwich?
Happy Dirty 30 to my husband, Paul. Thanks for being the very best. He'd love for Ted to say the Vietnamese philanthropist rode an ambulance and wonders if Robin can do the same in German. Many thanks from his loving wife, Leslie, and his little dude, Rory.
The Vietnamese philanthropist rode in an ambulance.
That is award-winning stuff.
Bitches, I would love to make a birthday shout-out request to my amazing...
Robin's going to do it in German.
Oh, you're going to do it in German.
I couldn't read it in English.
Right.
I don't have philanthropist in my back pocket.
What about
in German.
nice person? Nice person with money, right? That's what a philanthropist is.
All right, you guys don't have to brag about it.
I know, right?
Philanthropy?
Schönes
Yeah.
Mensch.
Yeah. Bitches, I'd like to make a birthday request for my amazing fiance, Daniel. It is his 31st trip around the sun. He requested a Leroy chickens and those dirty, dirty Germans. Thanks, guys. LARP on that from Sheena.
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Yeah, when I'm done with you on your birthday, when you bend over and touch your toes, it'll look like an exploded cigar on the backside.
Yeah, and I've seen you work before, Daniel, so come over here and buff my car.
Guys, want another birthday shout out to my husband, Daniel. Hopefully not the same one.
Ooh.
Could you give him turtle wax with a fish sandwich in the paws? Thanks, guys. That from Heather.
Fish sandwich?
Can I buy you a fish sandwich?
Guys, can you wish my wonderful wife, Pam, a happy 35th birthday since I already gave her the gift of our second child? Can I also give her some dirty Germans, please? Love the show. That from your local bartender, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the event is, but we have German tradition called gunk chugging.
Yeah, and Pam, unlike your name normally, when I'm done with you, you will stick to the surface.
Guys, all Robert wants for his 36th birthday is a birthday shout-out from the men's room. He'd love to hear some dirty, dirty Germans. Thanks, guys, so much. That from Bridget and Trebor.
Yeah.
Or Trevor, maybe. Well, I think they missed it by one key. I mean, Trebor. Who would name their kid Trebor?
Trebor.
Trebor.
Yeah.
I think it's Trevor.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of your name one way or other, but the birthday wish goes out to your friend now. Trebor.
Yeah, now I'm obsessed with this tree ball.
Yeah. You will be like a tree and I will bore a hole into you.
Yeah.
Trebor.
Yeah, maybe come over and snuggle the sausage.
Sausage snugglers.
All right, guys,
Snugglers, I
here
see
you
you.
go. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, bitches.
Ya's a Dirty Germans brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefleisch.
All right, one more. Guys, in my underwear. 21st birthday, first time I really ever drank. All my friends were buying me pitchers, getting me extremely drunk. In college, get back to the dorm around 3 a.m. I'm bear crawling up the steps, make it to the bathroom. Next thing you know, campus security officer checking my pulse. That's when I realized that I must have passed out in the bathroom. Also realized that I had thrown up all the buffalo wings that I had eaten earlier all over my favorite shirt and jeans. Drunkenly, I asked the officer if the orange vomit would come out of my clothes. He laughed and said probably not. I proceeded to take off all my clothes except for my thong, walk to a garbage can, and toss all of my clothes into it. I then crawled in the window sill and talked to the officer for another hour or so, all while just wearing a thong. This, by the way, is extremely out of character for me. My college, by the way, has a strict policy about being drunk on campus. Anyone who is caught has to go to committee and tell them your story, and then they'll punish you. Funny thing is, I was the chair of that committee. The officer wrote every detail up in his report that the committee receives for my case. The other members thought my story was funny, and I was off the hook. Going to a tiny college, the president of my college gave my incident report to me at graduation, because he thought it was hilarious. That from Megan, listening on Z-Rock 103 in lovely Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for sending that lovely email. We really appreciate it. Coming up on the program, the Return of the Word has names that parents invented for their kids last year. But first...
Now, the men's room wants to know... Who sucks less?
Yay! Time for Who Sucks Less. The situation is this. Steve, you bring us 3 stories each week that happen in the news. All of these 3 stories, to some degree, suck. But it is up to you to determine which of these 3 stories suck the least. Now, if you follow the Men's Room on Twitter or Instagram at Men's Room Live, or you like the Men's Room on Facebook, the debate is already underway on Who Sucks Less.
Yes, indeed, you're absolutely correct. 3 fresh stories that, again, I must reiterate, based on the responses I get, I am not responsible for. This is other people, but in this case, we have the wife of an Army sergeant. She'll be competing against a mother from Michigan, and then we have a man on a flight to Orlando. But let's start with our Army sergeant. In this case, as the story reads, The terrible news traveled 10,000 miles to reach Stephen Garcia. That's the 24-year-old U.S. Army sergeant who is on an overseas deployment in Seoul. He's a patrol supervisor with the 142nd Military Police Company. And as the days crept into January, he discovered he was going to be a dad. Now, he waited for his wife, Marina, to deliver their child back in Arizona, but obviously he's in Korea. But the second report he gets, not so good. Actually, it's very bad. His very own sister called to say that the baby, which was a baby girl, had died at birth. And he says, quote, when my sister called me about that, I was pretty emotional. We cried quite a bit together on the phone. It was devastating. Well, the shock and grief were quickly sidelined by the more complex feelings the following month when the soldier learned the truth. Not only was the baby alive and a boy, but the focal point of the criminal investigation was the fact that the kid also was not his, and that his wife had had an affair, got pregnant, had the kid, and to prevent anyone figuring out the infidelity, she then sold the kid 3 days later to another couple who managed to get pulled over randomly by the cops, which is what blew the whole thing open, all right? So he's overseas, believes he's going to be a father. He's 10,000 miles away. Hey, you had a baby girl. She died at birth. He said, no. Your wife had a baby boy. It was not yours. And that same wife sold the kid to hide the affair. So that's her.
That's a lot.
That is, that's a hell of a story, man. Now let's go to Michigan, where a Michigan woman, authorities say she embezzled more than $400,000 from her disabled 9-year-old son's estate. And now she faces prison after entering a plea to, quote, resolve the case. Hey, man, I don't care who you are. If there's a plea to resolve the case, isn't that the plea you would take? At any rate, the 32-year-old Casey Prudent Rivera should be sentenced next month after pleading no contest to embezzling more than $100,000. Keep in mind, she took about $400,000, but as the crime reads, it's about if you have more than $100,000, and it's not an admission of guilt. It's just that if you investigate this, you sure as hell will find me guilty. Now, they say that she received about $650,000 on behalf of her son, and then she spent about $240,000 on the house. The rest is, as they say, unaccounted for, although judging from her picture, probably some of the tattoos that she has. Now, the court records say that her son has cerebral palsy, permanent brain damage, and other health problems. The money was from a settlement, and this is after her son suffered seizures and brain damage shortly after birth at a hospital. This is from a settlement. Anyway, she's spending it on whatever. And now, let's go to, the city of Orlando, where violence erupted on a Frontier Airlines flight. It spilled all the way to the Orlando airport. This is when a passenger punched a deaf pregnant woman and her service dog. So it began when the passenger, Timothy Manley, his wife complained about being allergic to the Great Dane. So to respond, the dude turned around and punched the dog, made the dog yelp, and it hid under the seat. This is a Great Dane. Now, the dog's owners, both of whom are deaf, they say they shouted and angrily signed at the man. And basically said, hey, man, you can't do that. Well, the argument didn't stop. There's actually cell phone footage that shows all this going on. But at some point, this guy punched the 20-week pregnant woman in the stomach. That's when her husband tackled the guy in the terminal. He says to keep him there until the cops get there. The husband of the woman who got punched, he plans to press charges. Everyone else is trying to let it go. But anyway, essentially, you have the mother, the U.S. Army sergeant's wife, who lied to him about the birth of the kid, et cetera, et cetera. She's taking on the Michigan mother, who's just taking money from her kid, who has all kinds of legit health problems. Or you have the guy that punches a deaf pregnant woman because he's allergic to her big-ass service dog.
All over the road on Facebook. Annie says the baby will have a good life if someone bought it.
The baby those people who bought it got pulled over. That baby's in state's care.
All right, well, that might be a better scenario than being with the birth mother, for sure. I'm going to say that the birth mother, in that case, sucks the least simply because she is, in fact, a liar. As far as the guy was concerned, he was strung along. That was terrible. He was told some awful things that he had to deal with personally, which is horrible. The bottom line is, number one, it wasn't his child, and number two, hopefully he is not with that person anymore.
I'm sure he's not, but I don't think there's any silver lining.
There's no silver lining at all, but as far as the three are concerned, It's a lot of money to take from somebody who definitely needs it from a medical standpoint.
Who are you saying sucks the least?
I'm saying that the Army sergeant, his wife sucks the least.
Really? I think the Michigan woman does. The mother with the kid. Her kid, she's still taking care of the kid. Part of the money she took from the estate, she bought a house where the kid lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she did with the other money. So as it stands right now, the kid's living in a better house. Okay. And still getting treatment. It's not for her.
See, I thought the money was for his treatment ongoing for the rest of the
year. So far, she can still make the payments on the treatment. So as it stands right now.
You know what, I gotta be honest with you, I'm with Miles on this one. Only because it wasn't actually his kid.
Sure.
So I think that makes it granted, that emotional thing she put him through is horrible.
I feel like she sucks everywhere. Sell the kid. You know what I mean? Damn.
She keeps
filling it up.
If you like the Men's Room on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live and Instagram at Men's Room Live, the debate continues there on who sucks less. All right, coming up, we are going to drink and toast with the shout of the day. The word has names that parents actually invented in the last year, names that they gave their kids, and there are over 1,000 of them. We have a few to bring to you coming up next with the word. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Another round of profile that's on the way. We'll drink and toast with a shot of the day. But first, oh boy, here we go, the word. Today, we'll bring to you that parents are just not sometimes the most intelligent people in the world. Obviously, we know that. Steve, you always say that if you want to get rid of bullying, don't name your kid something strange.
I mean, you can name your kid whatever you want, but don't bitch when people make fun of it.
Listen, American babies were given 29,910 distinct names last year alone. Distinct names. Over 29,000. There are over 1,100 that make this list based on the fact that more than 9 people gave names, these similar names, to babies. So here are a few. By the way, just to give you an idea, a couple of the big ones. That would be Ashad, 58 babies. DJ Khalid's kid, he named Ashad. And there's Tashmara Rivera. Tashmara Rivera, who is a big Instagram model, I guess, or something like that. She is, because of her popularity on Instagram, a number of people have named their kid her name. So here are some of the additional names.
Aim high.
Yeah. Cassian, Kior.
Kior?
Like Eeyore?
Kior with a K. There are 17 kids now named Draxler.
Draxler?
There's Ikini, like Ikea, but Ikini.
Ikini?
Noctis. Sayora.
Wait, Noctis?
Yeah, there's 17 Noctises.
Why would you name your kid Noctis?
There's 13 Mohanas. Noxley with a K, there's 12 of them. Arjun Reddy, there's 12 Arjun Reddys. There are 11 Ava Jades. These are brand new names. Ava Jade, Luna Rose, Imona, Miracle, Nova Lee. How about Owlsley, Brexley, Genova, Luna Freya, Ning, Yeezel, Amila, Kamile, Casey, Leilana, Rufta, Ozian, I'm Ron Beck, Anazo, Zagan, Cardi, Jory, Mila Rose, Sayora, Normani, Zava, Unit, Benjin, Sharvin, Yazdan, and your Danny. Honest to God, have we made it to drinking time?
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is.
They should be able to drink early.
So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Stephen Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Today we toast 43-year-old Stephen Lawrence of somewhere in Ontario, Canada. Like many of us, Stephen has had too much to drink, blacked out, and then had to call a friend the next day to find out what happened. Now, in his case, Stephen said he hoped that he wasn't a, quote, super a-hole last night. We'll let you be the judge of that. Apparently, he was getting really loud during his drunken night before, and the friend asked him to quiet down. So in his drunken stupor, Stephen surmised that the problem wasn't so much that he was being loud. The problem was that his friend could simply hear too well. And perhaps that is why Stephen bit his friend's ear off. Off.
Wow.
The part he doesn't remember is biting the ear off. The fact that the ear was then placed into a bag of ice. This is at a bar, okay? I mean, plenty of people witnessed this. And this is the friend that he called the next day, by the way. They put the ear on ice, rushed him to the hospital. Stephen was there, I believe. They managed to reattach the ear, and the friend should make a full recovery. Keep in mind, that had happened maybe 7 hours before Stephen placed the call. Hey, hope I wasn't too much of an a-hole. They're still friends.
Damn.
So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies.
Down the hola, bichola! Let's get caller 9 on the line for Profile This. 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.